Rebel. Babe, can you see that? Snapchat, Instagram, uchikila. We could have told out the bed as Jacarzinha. Friday night at Pablo, some tequila. Let me take you down, bro.
Hello, our Rangers.
Yes.
What's good? How are you guys doing? You can't answer that, but I'm assuming good.
We hope
or
good.
Not good. Or yeah.
But you have to tell yourself that you're doing good.
Right.
Yes.
Either way, I'm just gonna assume y'all are good. So yeah, welcome to another episode of Her Hour. I'm your host, one of your hosts, Jordan, and I'm joined by this beautiful woman. And she's gonna introduce herself because I don't know her name.
6 episodes, 7 or whatever episodes in, and you still don't know my girl.
Selective
bye.
amnesia.
Hi everyone, as you know, I'm Vera. So good to be back at it again.
Right.
Joy.
So yeah. She's just like saying my name, guys. But anyway, today we are discussing a very prominent issue in this modern day Zim society, and we're talking about healthcare, which I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions on. So yeah, let's just get right into it.
Don't want to waste too much time.
We don't want to waste your time. We don't want to waste our time. So we're just gonna talk about it. So I think the first question I want to ask is, how accessible do you think healthcare is in Zim? Do you think that it's like something everyone can have, or is it like just like for a certain class of people? Yeah.
Let's
discuss it.
Zim healthcare is just like a troubled child. You know how you have like that child that just like is continuously struggling to just be okay. Yet it should be the most secure thing, I feel.
Right.
It's just really upsetting that I don't think it's accessible to everyone.
Right.
And this is a legit experience that I had. We had a workshop last year with creatives with disabilities. And one of the guys we had, he's actually I'd say that he's deaf, but not really, as per se, because he can like lip read and he can like talk. But when he was born, like they assumed he was deaf, so he had to learn sign language and everything. So he's more fluent in sign language than he is when he speaks. So anyway, he's not feeling well. We get to the clinic, and then the doctor like couldn't sign. The nurse couldn't sign. So because I knew like minimal like sign language, like I was like trying to help out, like you'd explain something to me, then I'd like be the translator. But I'm like, imagine if like he had come through by himself, and imagine if he had a really serious issue, because most of the times when they're trying to diagnose you, you need to tell them everything. Like, we take some of these things for granted, and I think, definitely, I do not think it is accessible.
Right.
Just looking at that small community.
Right. I'm gonna take it from the approach of like medical aid.
Yeah.
I believe that medical aid is only available to a certain class of people, and if you're not earning a certain amount of money, then you don't have access to medical aid or support, like medical support that's sufficient.
Yeah.
Because as much as we can say, you should be able to pay for your own medical expenses, things are expensive, guys.
They are.
Things are expensive. People are not thinking about their health at this point in time. I think that a lot of people are putting their health on the back bench and are more like concerned with, can I pay my kids' school fees? Can I, like what we were speaking about in our last episode. And I just think that people are, like, it's not accessible. It's not something, you can't just walk into a doctor's office or hospital and be like, I want to get this done, or I want to, people would rather die than spend their coin at these hospitals, and people don't make US dollars.
Yeah.
And these days they're demanding US dollars. So if someone is dying and you have to choose between, am I gonna pay $500 US dollars to keep this person alive, or am I gonna die?
Yeah.
I think most of us would choose dying. I'm joking.
Wow.
No.
But I get what you're saying,
the option is death, guys. And people don't have it. Where are you gonna find 500 US? Do you have 500 US dollars? And if you do, hey yo, hit me up. I'm kidding. So yeah.
But yeah, true. Like you can't even find someone to borrow the money from and things like that.
Right.
Like it's so like difficult to borrow money from someone or to get a loan from the bank. Like I know friends who have to like actually travel outside of the country just so that they can get like medical treatment.
Right.
And even them having to go outside of the country, it's so expensive. Like
right.
the costs are ridiculous because you have your travel costs. Then you have to pay for like the time you're spending in the hospital and like the medicine as well. Like it's just a headache. Like I always say to people, I'm like, you can't afford to be sick in Zimbabwe. Like I'm on medical aid, and one of the biggest issues for me is that like, first of all, half of the clinics or hospitals or doctors I want to see do not accept the medical aid that I'm on. So like I have my other half that's just like, why am I even bothering like to pay for medical aid? Like,
right. And I feel like healthcare isn't for everyone. Like not everyone could just walk into a clinic and be like, hi, please treat me.
Yeah.
Please help me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna speak obviously from an LGBTQIA plus perspective because I'm an activist, and obviously I speak in the interest of those people, and so those people, me as well. You know what I'm saying? So from the perspective of someone who exists in that community, it's jarring. You walk into a healthcare facility, and first of all, people aren't gonna treat you. They want to focus on cement. They want to focus on, so let's speak for example, if it was a lesbian girl and she goes into the clinic, and she has a situation that has to do like a sexually
like maybe
something
she
that
has
came
thrush
about,
or something. But it's not even like a sexual thing, but like
Right.
she just go in with thrush.
And then now they're asking,
suspicious.
so do you have a sexual partner? Do you get penetrated vaginally? And then she's like, no, dog, because we just don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then it's gonna become the questions of, so who's the man and who's the woman? Or who's the this and who's the, and it's like, I didn't come here to have like a questionnaire taken about my sexuality or about who I choose to partake or break bread in the bedroom with. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's not accessible. It pushes people away. Let's say, for example, let's speak for a trans person who goes in and maybe their name is different on their birth certificate, on their ID, and now they're given and now they're given this thing, and it becomes a situation of, are you trying to be an imposter, or are you trying to commit fraud, or are you using someone else's identity, or are you just pretending? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It becomes problematic. It chases people away.
Yeah.
It's someone with a disability, like you were saying.
Yeah. Now you start getting asked. I have a friend of mine. She walks with a limp, and she was actually told by the doctor because she had this hectic, crazy accident when she was younger, and like her hip was displaced or whatever. And like the doctor actually said to her, he was like, I hope you're smart, because men don't want to marry girls with like disabilities. Oof. And like imagine this is a doctor that's saying this to like a 12-year-old girl, like, which for me, like, it just blew my mind. And I'm like, it doesn't even have to be something that hectic. It can even just be something like, I feel like sometimes the healthcare system, like, they have so many questions about things that aren't really important. They focus on things that aren't really important.
Right,
and then they end up like leaving out certain people. And then because the experience is so uncomfortable, I think that's the thing that people don't realize. If my experience going to a hospital is so uncomfortable, I am not going to go to the hospital. It's just hectic.
Right, I completely agree. So I think in conclusion, we can, not in conclusion, but I mean, just to like answer that question, I don't think that healthcare is accessible to all people. I think it's something that is for a certain class of people. I think it's something that if you have the means, then you can have access to elaborate treatment. But if you don't, then you just have to take what's given to you. There are free clinics, there are free services, you know what I'm saying? But we'll get back to that later on. So I think it's safe to say that healthcare is not for everyone in this country. Okay, so now I just want to get into it a little deeper and more from a personal perspective, because I think it's important for us to share our experiences. Because as much as we can sit here and be like, oh yeah, healthcare, if it hasn't affected us, then we have no legs to stand on. True. You know what I mean?
True.
So I think, if you are willing to share a personal experience that has affected you in this whole healthcare situation.
So I think for me, like, one of my biggest experiences is that I'm polycystic. So for those of you who don't know, it means that my ovaries like produce more eggs, and the eggs just like come out and then they stick onto my ovaries, and they form cysts, and then that causes complications with my period. It causes complications with my hormones. I have an imbalance with my hormones and things like that. Like, it's just a whole hectic process. So initially, when I went for, like, I used to have really bad period pains and stuff like that. And the thing is, this one thing that annoys me the most is that when you go to a doctor, you go to a nurse and you're like, I have really bad cramps. They just say, oh, it's something that will pass. You're just being a baby about it. Like, be strong. You're just like, fam, I know when something is normal and when something just doesn't feel right. And like, this went on for quite a while. And like, eventually, yeah, basically. And then this went on until like I actually had to be like hospitalized because the pain was so intense. Like, I could not function. And then I decided to go and see a gynecologist, and then it's only after like he did all the scans and everything that they were finally like, oh, so yeah, you're polycystic. And I was just like, this is actually just crazy that it took so long, you know, for people to actually take the pain seriously. And then, you know, after going on treatments and everything, I was just like, no, I don't want to take, you know, the treatments that I was being given because everything kind of regulated. And then this problem started up again. So I went to my GP and I was like, listen, I know that I have this problem. You know, I just have the bad pains. Can you prescribe pills? And he was like, no, but sometimes it's just because you're not drinking enough water and you're not like having a healthy enough diet. And I was like, I'm polycystic. It kind of doesn't really have anything to do with my diet as per se. Yes, it can help to kind of manage it to a certain extent, but not really. So, you know, and so that's my personal experience. And I feel like I hate that with reproductive health. Like, some of these doctors and nurses are so ignorant, and they just assume that, you know, you're being a baby about the pain. Oh, you haven't experienced child labor, so you don't understand. It's like, sis, I don't have to go through child labor to know what pain is. Like, if something is hurting me, it's hurting me, and like, you need to just respect that.
Like, I feel like they're looking to like invalidate your experiences.
Yes, exactly.
Which it shouldn't be. You should be wanting to care for someone. I came here for care. I didn't come here to be like given advice on how to handle pain. So true. So for me, I have two experiences that I would like to share. Obviously, the first one is the fact that I'm like a woman of trans experience, and so when I go to the doctor, it becomes a scene, like a monkey fucking zoo. It becomes a zoo, and it becomes a thing of like, oh, they look at my ID, and then they look at me, and then they look at my ID, and then they call everyone into the room, and then it's like, oh, look at the ID, and then look at the person, and then they go out of the room, and then the doctor comes, and the doctor's like, oh, and the doctor goes out of the room, and then it's like,
and you have those unnecessary people that like walk past, and you can tell that they were told by someone to like come and like, look. I'm here to get treated. I'm not here to like be your little show pony and sit here and be looked at like I'm like a circus animal. Great, you haven't seen someone like me, or I don't even know what makes it so like crazy. I don't look like you're like,
but for me that's sad, because what about the trans people who don't pass or who don't have that privilege of like looking a certain way? When you go to the doctor, they're gonna treat you like a show animal or a show pony, and you're gonna be treated really badly, and I think that's very, very sad. Because it takes the whole care aspect out of the health care experience. And I think that's like, it's sad. Then another experience I had is that December 2017, 2018. What year are we in, guys?
We're in 2020, so 2019.
December 2018.
Okay, cool.
I was mugged and stabbed outside of my house. Luckily, I was only stabbed on my knee, and my kneecap blocked the knife. And that was the only place that I was stabbed at, because the knife broke before like he had a chance to stab me again. So I went to the clinic, the Seamers clinic. Sorry, I'm calling out names. I went to the Seamers clinic at a certain time. I think it was like 12. It was midnight. I got mugged at like 11:45. Got to the clinic, and they were like, okay, so what happened? Like, oh, I just got mugged. Oh, it becomes, oh, so tell us the story. How did it happen? What? Were they 2 men, 3 men? And I'm like, guys, I just went through a traumatic experience. I don't want to relive it. I came here to get this stitched up and go home so I can sleep. I want my antibiotics or my whatever, my painkillers, whatever. I'm not thinking about telling you this story. It's not a cute story. I'm not here to like... So anyway, that's the first track. We carry on. they're taking like forever, guys. It's bleeding the whole way down my leg. My leg is like drenched in blood. They call the doctor. The doctor comes and he's like, "Oh, you don't need any stitches." Guys, this was a stab wound.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? So he's like, "No, you don't need stitches, whatever." We carry on. And he like wraps the leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the care. That was all the care that I got was like a bandage. I'm lucky enough to have medical aid. That is like a seamless medical aid. So obviously they were supposed to
covers
care
it,
for me,
yeah.
like give me my stitches, give me my work, give me my work. But because it was a certain hour of the night, it was a certain shift change or whatever, they weren't trying to do their jobs to the fullest ability. And they didn't give me stitches. And now I'm left with this disgusting, well for me, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's a scar that I didn't have and I didn't necessarily need to have. Because if they stitched it up, it would have just been like a little slip.
Yeah.
But now it's like
This
a
huge
wound.
gaping
Right, and I'm
scar.
a model. And as a model, that's going to like turn me down from certain jobs because if I'm supposed to be modeling a skincare product or like whatever, they don't want to see scars. They want like perfection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's the healthcare system. It's sad, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's so unfortunate though. Like, I think, again, it comes back to the same thing that you take away from someone's experience because, I don't know, this excitement about like, whatever it is, like that whole thing of like telling, like
Right.
you telling me this, if I were to get raped, you know how you have to go to the clinic and blah, blah, blah to take PrEP and everything. I'm like, I don't think I'd be able to do that. It's the same thing with, you have these young girls that are sexually active. They might think that they've caught something. They want to go to the clinic. They want to go and get tested. Because like you can't get tested for like STIs at New Start. You have to go to the clinic, right? So they'll go to the clinic to go and get tested.
And the price.
And the nurses, let's assume that they've got this money, they've got all of the resources. The nurses, you know, they give you this look like one of those like, oh, you're having sex. And I was like, yes, I get that you're a mother or whatever, but like, treat me first and then you can give me live counseling sessions after, you know?
Right.
Because that's what gets a lot of young girls, like young girls don't want to go to the clinic. If you're young and pregnant, you're not going to want to go for all of your scales and the tests and the whatever, the injections you're supposed to get because you get judged. And like, then it takes, like, it just makes it hard for you to then go and get the treatment that you need to get. You now start having all these complications and it's all because you had one horrible experience.
Right. I think even on a over-the-counter sort of setting, for girls who are going through a situation where they need to access the morning after pill, or even contraceptives, like your birth control. When you walk into a pharmacy and maybe there's a woman behind the counter and you're like, oh, I would like to purchase the morning after, it now becomes a face-off, a stare down. And she's like, oh, then they start asking how many times have you taken it, how many what are you saying, where is the partner, what does he know that you're taking it? And I feel like it's not fair that women have to you have to consult the person you slept with.
Imagine for you
to know, you know what I'm saying, that's not fair. So yeah, I think it's sad that this is the situation with the healthcare system. I think we definitely need to like do better in terms of that. It's sad. I feel like if you guys have any personal experiences that you guys would like to share with us, please like hit the comment section because we'd love to hear your experiences. Our 2 experiences are just 2 experiences. There's so many more horror stories that go on where people have died at the hands of a faulty healthcare system. And
dying
it shouldn't be the
waiting room.
situation, right? Do you think that due to the fact that things are so inaccessible, there is a sudden rise in black market drugs and like black market, like not black market, but like off the backstreet treatments and there's do you think there's a rise of like informal doctors and informal? I think I want to speak on something that I read recently, that there was a woman out in the out in the rural areas, outskirts of Harare, who was delivering babies because it was so expensive to go to the hospital and deliver your babies. People were going to this woman and they were having their babies delivered on the side, like outside, guys, on the side of the road. And you could just see like women were lying there naked. Like this was a big thing on Twitter, on social media, where women were having to go and access this woman because of how expensive it is now to give birth.
Yeah.
And like a right, a literal right. You're like a right to give a child to this earth, and you now have to pay an arm and a leg to have this child.
There's so many costs involved in like just giving birth. You know, you have to be there just before you give birth. You have to be there just after.
They give you a list.
Yeah, if there are any complications with your baby, then like that's also another expense.
Exactly. What
Every
happens
day
in the
is-
case of those kids that need to be incubated?
Yeah, you see now.
Right.
So yeah, definitely. I think
Shout out incubator hub.
what? But like I think it's so hectic that you know, these things are so expensive, and the black market drugs definitely. I remember there was a time in town where I'm sure it still happens, that you can walk in certain streets and actually find birth control pills being sold by vendors. Like someone who doesn't know how to tell you how to take them, they're just selling them because like maybe they got them for free at, you know, sometimes like some of these organizations give them away for free.
Right.
Sometimes they're also just very cheap from like the pharmacy. Like at that time, I think
birth control
like,
is $8, 8 bonds.
So imagine someone just goes and buys in bulk, and then they just come into the streets and they're selling it. These pills could be expired. And there you go, because you're like faulty.
You're right.
Or there could be something wrong, or you could be wrongly prescribed. Like someone could just tell you that, oh, if you don't have babies, or oh, if you want to get your hormones in balance, take these. But like because you haven't gotten a blood test to know which hormone is lacking in you, you're just going to take what's on the streets because it's cheaper, and you don't have the money to see a doctor.
Right.
Like, so there are also things like that. Even the same thing with, some of these cough mixtures, the same thing. But like, people go to Eastlea and Botswana, Malawi, Mozambique, they're buying all of these cough syrups, and now it's being sold on the side of the road.
Right.
Like, it's just hectic. Like, aspirins, I heard that people are now bringing in aspirins and paracetamols as well. And like, you can find, like, this is a whole business, guys. Like, they're dealers. They're like, nah, I got you. Like, you want parasites, I can give them to you for like a certain amount of money.
Right. I think our economic situation is sort of turning people into hustlers. As we were speaking about in our previous episode, it's like people are so set now on like making a business out of people suffering, or making a business out of the economic crisis. And it's just, it's a sad situation to see. I was just thinking that I think it's very unfair that people have to look to black markets or look to other markets or other healthcare providers when there are places that have these services ready and available. There was a video of the whole Paris situation where it was empty. The hospital is empty. There's nobody. There's no doctors. There's no patients. It's now a set. It's literally a movie set, guys.
Well, literally when they like have a situation where like the doctors actually have to give you a prescription for something that normally was given in the hospital. Like that's another thing that's been happening of late, that normally you just go and you get treated. I remember there's a time when I slammed my thumb on the door, and so I went to the Harare clinic.
Right.
And when I was telling a friend of mine, they were like, because they gave me a shot for tetanus, right? So they gave me a tetanus shot.
How
and
iconic. They gave you a shot.
A shot, yes. And one of the crazy things is that a friend of mine who works there was just like, dude, I'm actually surprised that they gave you that tetanus shot for free. But like the other meds, like I had to pay, because they're like, no, like the painkillers and whatever, obviously they're like, yeah, you have to pay for that. But they were just like, I'm surprised that the fee I paid, which was a minimal fee, it was like 15 bond at the time, that I, like, there was nothing additional for them to cover the price for the shot.
Right.
And I think sometimes we get pleasantly surprised, but other times we also get shook by certain things. Where like you go to the hospital and they're like, well, we would normally give this to you, but like here's the prescription, come back and like go and buy it in the pharmacy downstairs, and then like we'll administer it and stuff like that. It's just hectic for me.
Right. I think it is sad. But I think it's important for us to focus on what we can do to make the situation better amongst ourselves. So do you think there's anything that we could do potentially to help the situation? Do you think that there are people who have access to resources that could potentially benefit other people?
I personally have noticed that with the healthcare, like when you take better care of yourself, that also just reduces the need for you to go to hospital. Obviously, there's some illnesses that are hard to avoid. I'm not saying that like, cancer, like it's your fault. No. But I'm saying that there's certain illnesses that people get, like getting a cold, like these horrible flus, coronavirus even, typhoid and cholera. Like guys, washing your hands, watching where you're buying your food and things like that. Eating healthy, herbal teas, local herbal teas. I'm not saying that go and get these like crazy Chinese herbal teas. No, we have so many local teas, local products that are available and not expensive, not that expensive for you to buy, that you can just add to your diet so that you're just a healthier person. Exercising, just making those little changes in your life, because that also helps. Like even if you get an injury, if you're like a healthy person, if you're an active person,
build your immune system,
and stuff like that. So I think that's one of the steps that we can just encourage is to say that, guys, let's eat healthy, let's exercise more, let's look at the healthier kind of aspects of life.
I think another thing could be maybe potentially looking out for the people in your social circles. And I think we need to begin to establish a community type of format amongst ourselves, where if someone does not have the resources but you have the resources, then, and it's not going to hurt you to provide these resources, then I think it's only fair to provide them to someone who may need them. I think we need to stop being in this mentality of keeping things to ourselves. Oh, maybe one day I'll get sick, or maybe you're not sick right now. Someone else is sick right now in this present moment. And it won't hurt you to share and be charitable or be caring or empathetic of someone else's situation, because someone's gonna die and you don't want to sit there and have that on your back and be like, oh, I could have helped but I didn't. Should have, could have, would have. You should have. You really should have. You know what I mean?
So even simple things like donating blood, and I also just want to push another point to just say that like big corporations, there's that CSR money that they have, like they could actually legit put it into the healthcare. To actually just be like, we're just gonna buy a bunch of medication for this hospital. We're gonna buy a machine that is broken down in this clinic and stuff like that. I also think that that's just another thing that can be looked into. That it doesn't have to be that we wait for Strive Nazio to decide that he's going to donate money to pay the doctors, but that every corporation that's making money, because we have multiple monopolies in this country. That have extra cash. We know you, we see you. So do some good with your money, so we don't have to be angry at y'all when you increase our things.
I completely agree with you. I think that it's up to us to kind of change our situation. Maybe we need to establish a more protester type of setting. I think we need to fight for our rights, guys. As much as I know in Zim, when you fight for your rights, you get shot, but it is what it is. I think we need to find other ways of being more visible about the things that we need as citizens. I think that there are resources that people can access, like Wilkins Clinic provides free treatment. If you would like free treatment for like STIs or whatever, you can access New Start centers. You can, if you've been raped, you can access the adult rape clinic or Sesha. Or there's a lot of resources. And
there are even some free screenings like for cancer that pop up, like
cervical cancer. A New Start center can provide that with you for you. What is that? Tuberculosis screening and treatment. A New Start center. There are so many places that are actually looking out and are looking to help the community as opposed to just taking their coins. So I think if you know someone or you know of these resources, please comment down below and hit us up if you know anything that could help someone potentially be in a better situation, or just to make someone's life a little easier. Then just hit us in the comments.
WhatsApp messages about the clips, the surgeries that happen for free, guys. Share it. It doesn't hurt you to just copy and paste.
Put it in your group chats. Put it in your what. Put it in your what. You don't know who is looking and who might need that service.
Exactly.
So I think that's where we can end. I think it's something we can just finish on in conclusion, that this healthcare system is flawed. It's sad, but we are here to help each other, and we are a community at the end of the day. And as much as these systems may not provide for us, we can learn to provide for each other and for ourselves. As Vera said, looking out for yourself first. and ensuring that you're healthy so that you can make sure that everyone else in your circle is healthy as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, please make sure to follow our socials.
Yes.
They're on the screen now. And subscribe to this channel and subscribe to like all our videos. Watch our videos, our previous ones, the ones that are about to come.
Yes, the future videos will have like, they should be like popping up on the
Right.
screen.
And for the people who have been watching, thank you so much for your support. And thank you for always just listening to what we have to say. I know we're only 2 women in this whole world full of beautiful women. Okay. But yeah, thanks for coming through for us and supporting us. We love you, our Rangers.
Yes.
And yeah, if you have anything you'd like to say, we've been saying, hit the comment section. If you'd like to come on, hit the comment or hit our DMs or any of our DMs on our socials. And yeah, keep the conversation going on your socials. Engage people, right? This should be something that we should be discussing all the time. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys.
Thank you so much.
All right.
We appreciate it. Now we're gonna drink and destroy our
Right.
livers.
See you on the next one.
Depending on how you hold me. Tonight we must paint this town. Queen of hearts and maybe gentry. Or maybe we can do more